All right, everyone. I wanted to talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Zuckerbergs knockoff, what is it, Libra coin or something like that. Already having issues, I believe, with the government not so thrilled about the idea of Facebook joining the crypto market. But first, I wanted to give a quick shout out to Black Rifle Coffee, blackriflecoffee.com, obviously. They actually sent me some free stuff. I'm drinking it now. Definitely really good. And it says on the thing that it's twice as caffeinated as normal coffee. I don't know how that's accomplished. Maybe it's like a special blend, or maybe they crush up a couple of no-dose pills into it beforehand, but it's veteran-owned and operated. So, yeah, shout out to them. By the way, disclaimer, they gave me no compensation. They just sent me free coffee. So, they didn't even ask for a shout-out. So, I figured it was kind. It is good. We'll wait and see on the caffeine effects. Maybe later on I'll be increasingly incoherent in my videos, and, then you'll know why. But we got to talk about crypto, because I haven't really made a dedicated video on my thoughts on this topic. I've mentioned it. I hold cryptocurrency. I hold Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. By the way, wallets in the description if you wanted to send any over. I know with the price there for a while rising really quickly, nobody was donating any of it. I wonder why. Now, part of it is when you send it, via your wallet, usually there's a significant transaction fee. So there are some limitations on crypto. The first thing is a disclaimer here. I'm not giving you financial advice. You're responsible for your own actions. I'm not some sort of economic expert or anything, and I'm certainly not a fiscal lawyer. What I'm saying is generally I'm optimistic about the future of crypto, especially Bitcoin. Bitcoin specifically, people are like, well, what's it backed by? It's backed by the fact that it is a trading medium. That is, how is that any different than a dollar? Think about physically, structurally what a dollar is. It's a piece of paper. The only limitation on crypto beyond paper fiat currency, and there are ways in which paper money is significantly more limited. Bitcoin can be instantly transferred from here to Hong Kong. I can't instantly transfer a physical paper dollar from here to Hong Kong. There's a little bit of lag with the physical medium. The only limitation as far as use as a trading currency that it has beyond fiat is if we had like a Carrington event, a lot of that money would be wiped off the face of the earth. That's why it's more of an active medium of exchange, and that's why as it gains more acceptance, I think the price will skyrocket on Bitcoin. Yes, I think it'll be 100 times what it is at some point potentially in the future. We're talking very long future, and that's assuming that governments don't start banning it, hyper-regulating the crypto market. Like, for instance, what I've warned of, if Facebook's cryptocurrency takes off, makes Zuckerberg a lot of money, allows him to control transactions, gets the foot in the door of big tech into the crypto market. Eventually, what I worry will happen, this is a doomsday scenario that would basically make cryptocurrency all worthless, is that governments will start banning the use. They will start prosecuting people for attempting to use any cryptocurrency other than those that are run by the big tech firms, regulated. What they'll do is they'll bill it as, well, they have to, because of the importance of the crypto market in modern commerce, we have to make sure that certain regulations are followed by any company administering cryptocurrency. Any company that has branded cryptocurrency. Any company that utilizes cryptocurrency. They might go on to the lower end and just try to ban businesses from ever accepting like Litecoin or Ethereum or something. Bitcoin is the one standout because it's already so big that there's no way the economy would reabsorb all the Bitcoin, trading it over for some other crypto. It wouldn't make any sense. So what I would say is they'll probably try to go after the others and knock them off one by one through regulation if this happens. That's why I strongly suggest anyone, in cryptocurrency, do not invest in Facebook's crypto program. Let it fall flat. Let it basically become defunct and unused and a failure. Let it become the AOL of cryptocurrency. Because if it becomes big, if it becomes a challenge to Bitcoin or something, it's going to cause governments to try to hyper-regulate the crypto market. And you got to realize banks and governments are going to look at cryptocurrency and do anything they can to make money. I would not be surprised if when it's at its lows, groups of people within governments invest in these things. By the way, that is one other confounding factor. For example, what's to prevent, the nation of Iran from waiting until some crypto is at rock bottom, buying $1 billion worth of it, and then, ending up with $1 trillion to spend? What's to stop that from actually happening? And see, that's the military strategic side of it, is that governments are going to try to make the argument at some point, Western governments, that cryptocurrency needs more controls, more regulation to stop stuff like that from happening. That's why you see some of the exchanges playing nice, like Coinbase banning people for wrongthink, which is hilarious. The idea that you should not be able to undergo fiscal, commercial transactions having nothing even to do with your political life, simply because you have become a social pariah because BuzzFeed doesn't like you, is hilarious, and it's also extremely dystopian. As far as where I expect Bitcoin and other crypto, honestly, to go, I expect it to be on the up and up generally. Right now, I believe it's still in the middle of a little hiccup, and what they call a bear trap or whatever. I think it'll eventually hit a level higher than its previous peak. If we look at, history, there's no reason to suggest that it will be held back beyond that, because it's the scarcity involved of Bitcoin. I believe as it's mined over time, it gets mined less and less, and it becomes only cost effective to do so if the price is high. Over time, I would think that would tend to make it more expensive per Bitcoin. As far as the other like Litecoin, Ethereum, I don't know as much about their structure. Facebook's coin, who even cares? You don't touch anything that Zuckerberg's touching. Like, if you have a Facebook or an Instagram account, you should be deleting it right now. Pinterest, there's the same thing. Zuckerberg's selling all your info. He wants to know how many types of sweaters you're interested on Pinterest. He's interested in, like, pictures of your neighborhood on Instagram, and he's interested in your dick pics on Facebook because he's got weird hang-ups. He doesn't even allow breastfeeding photos. So that's a little bit about my view. I'd be very optimistic. And again, technically a disclaimer, I hold Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum. So I'm glad when it goes up, and when it goes down, I'm less glad. For me, though, it's not like I don't mine any of these currencies. I don't mine them. I simply hold them. I allow people to give them to me in lieu of other forms of payment. Like, I have a subscribe star, but some people are like, well, I'd rather do it in Bitcoin or something. Well, then you can do that. And I appreciate it. Like, I think I've got almost a half a Bitcoin now, actually. I think it's like 0.48 something or something like that. I mean, it's very, very funny to see, fucking 15 decimal points after. It's interesting that you can receive 0.0001 of something and it still has a value. And that's the thing. When people are, really skeptical, there are two groups of people that I spar with. People who think crypto is going to liberate the world and make it Ancapistan. That's not going to happen. The governments will regulate it. It's just a matter of trying to make sure we don't give them an excuse to do it too much. To stop the Facebooks and the Googles from getting into these markets so that it can remain kind of Wild West-y. That's the right thing to do. It's fiscally responsible. We all have a responsibility not to buy into anything Zuckerberg does at this point. That's one group. The other group is people who are like, well, I don't understand it. They don't understand it, and therefore they think that it can't have value. The learning curve involved with getting into crypto is one of the things holding it back. Like, what proportion of the world's population right now uses crypto? What proportion of the world's businesses accept it? And what proportion of individuals know anything fundamentally about it? Very small proportions. Over time, it's going to rise in value, I think, because more people will be using it. The artificial scarcity involved in Bitcoin's case, I know. More people will use it, more businesses and financial institutions will accept it, and more governments will attempt to regulate it because they'll say, well, it's happening anyway, we have to pass laws. When they do that, it justifies the existence of cryptocurrency. When the government regulates it, it justifies its existence to soccer mom America and normie British culture and everyone else in the world. So yes, I would not be surprised to see Bitcoin eventually considerably higher than it is. I can't guess where it'll go. I did properly guess, though, in the prior instance, that Bitcoin was peaking, that it would, begin to stall out, that it would then falter, and then after that it would rise back up, which is what it's doing. It just took months and months to do that. And it'll happen again. It's going to follow that basic cycle, especially now that it's regulated. Government intervention causes that. In crypto's case, you do have speculation, potentially. You have free market movements, and now you have regulated movements happening to it as well. By the way, if anyone could actually tell you what exactly was definitely going to happen with a stock or a currency or something, then why wouldn't they be a trillionaire? Like, we would have minted the world's first trillionaire if that were true. Oddly enough, what was it? There's that couple of brothers who they invested in a shit ton of Bitcoins years and years ago when it was worth, little to nothing. And they took a risk on it, and they're like, I'm going to buy, 1 million Bitcoins or some crazy shit. And I bet they're happy right now. Didn't they have to sell off a few of their Bitcoins to make ends meet during that period? I think they were already wealthy before, and they just invested a lot of their wealth in it. And then it shoots up, and, they sell a bunch, and now they're they're billionaires collectively. Yeah, they made out like bandits. Funny story. Many years ago, God, I think it would have been maybe 2010 or something. It was long before Bitcoin was, expensive. I thought about buying a bunch of them because I had, money from my student, what was it, work study thing. I had extra money. I'm like, oh, maybe I should buy like, 10 Bitcoins or something like that, just as a joke. I was thinking about it as a joke because I was seeing it on 4chan at the time. And people are sort of treating it as a joke. I wish I had taken it more seriously. I would be, yeah, I wouldn't have student loans, if you know what I'm saying. It'd be funny if it ever collapses down to a really low level. Trust me, I will invest considerable sums in cryptocurrency because it'll follow the same cycle over and over again. It's almost like a you can't lose scenario. Again, not giving you advice, but if you time it properly, it would be difficult, I think, long term to actually lose out. That's about all. Peace out.